Just to let you know, Ms. Cook is healing up from some dental issues. So if you have a minute to say a little prayer for her tonight, I'm sure she'd really appreciate that, because I really hate going to the dentist and having dental problems, and I'm sure she does too. So I will be presiding over the meeting tonight. I just want to thank y'all for being here. And first thing we're going to do is I'm going to call Emilio Lopez up to the podium, and we're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's see here. Now, do we want to go ahead and let him?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. So do you have anything you want to say, or you want to just let him?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce
Okay.
Emilio Lopez. He's an Archer student and going to be a fine graduate and a great representative of our district here this year. So Emilio, just take it away and tell us about yourself and what you'd like to tell the board tonight.
Something about me is that I came from Mexico. The reason I'm an archer is because I failed 3 classes for that, because we were remodeling our house for like a good 7 months, so we had nothing to do, no Wi-Fi, we had nothing. And so, but I recommend the school. It's a good school. They help you with everything. Great teachers. I brought my family here with me today. My dad, my little brother, and my mom. My dad, Edgar Lopez, a granite company. And Manuel, he goes to Southwest Junior High in 8th grade. And my mom, she works at Lee Elementary. She's a assistant teacher for students.
Okay.
And yeah, any questions?
How long have you been in our district?
Whew.
How many years have you been here?
Since I was first started school, since I began to talk, since pre-K. I started school here, actually. When the pre-K I started next door, I started here. All of my siblings did.
Can you name off all the schools you've been to? Or has there been a bunch of them?
A bunch. Yeah, here, Monitor Elementary, Sonora Middle School, Lakeside, Springdale High School, and then Archer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're graduating this year?
Yes, but I think hopefully by next month.
Nice. And what do you plan to do after you graduate?
I got into NWTI today, and I got a grant. Hopefully I get the grant so they can pay it off. And maybe I start courses in January. If not, then for sure August I start for industrial maintenance technology. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Emilio's got a great future. Just talked to him earlier. He wants to learn how to weld and do some other things. And he's going to be a great citizen of Springdale, and hopefully his kids will get to go to our district one day.
Yes.
What do you like about Archer?
Oh, a lot of things. Everything. They help you with everything. If you just see they're struggling, they just pull you away, and then they want you to get on track. They want you to pass. If you're failing, then they push you to what you're doing. They just keep on pushing you, even if you're struggling with whatever you need. They just help you. They pretty much bring you up. If you're having a bad day, then they just bring you up to what you need, to what your standards. Yeah.
That's awesome. Board, any other questions? Well, we appreciate you being here this evening. We look forward to watching you as you progress through your studies. Come back and see us once you're successful and tell us all about it, okay?
Right. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
All right.
Motion to accept the agenda as presented?
We have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mr. Emerson to approve the agenda. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we're on to the consent agenda. Are there any items there that need to be talked about?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Emerson and a second by Mr. Bell to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Cleveland.
All right, Mr. Hudson, thank you. I tell you, I made a trip down to Hot Springs this last Saturday, and I expected to see a great volleyball game, and I did. We have a great team right here, led by a great coach that I'd like to introduce. Ms. Clark, would you like to come on up and introduce your team and tell them about all the great, wonderful things that you and your team have accomplished this year, starting with that major championship as far as conference championship.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having us. This is most of our varsity squad for this season. The rest are dual sport athletes, so they're practicing right now. So we appreciate that we get to share them and split with other sports. But this group, Coach White and I are blessed to be able to coach this group. Out of our 15 on varsity, 14 of them were seniors. And everyone you see here are seniors, so it's an amazing thing to have this many role models in our program. It's also a really sad thing for Katie and I to see them go. But our goal this year, they want to come out and make history for our program, and that's exactly what they did. Our overall record this season was 33-2. In conference, they swept the conference. They went 14-0, so they were conference champions, and they were nationally ranked for 6 weeks in a row, and we ended up state runners-up. And obviously that wasn't the way that they wanted to end the season, but we've told them over and over and over again they have nothing to be ashamed of, that they should be holding their heads very high, and we could not be more proud of them and what they've accomplished this season. Yeah, last thing, we have National Signing Day tomorrow, and they're not all here because Kaylin plays basketball. We got 4 signing tomorrow, so a lot to be proud of.
How about we let them all introduce themselves and tell us what they're planning on doing?
That'd be awesome.
Will that work?
Kat, you want to start?
Come on up. Surprise.
Part of it.
Yep.
My name is Catherine Cooper, and I'm signing tomorrow to San Diego State University, and I'm gonna play volleyball there and hopefully major in applied mathematics.
Awesome. Wow. Okay.
I'm Josie McCroskey, and I'm signing tomorrow to Pitt State University, and I'm going to major in education.
Awesome. Don't forget about us.
I'm Abby Wright. I'm committed to William Carey University, and I'm not really sure what I'm really going to major in, but either nursing, physical therapy, or special education.
Awesome. Good.
I'm Jordan Benford, and I'm hoping to be recruited. I'm still in the recruiting process, and I don't know what I want to major in, so I'll probably go undecided.
Awesome. Okay.
My name is Kyla Glove, and I will be continuing my volleyball career at Dalhousie University, and I plan on majoring in kinesiology.
Where's that at?
Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Oh, really? Wow. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
My name's Logan Rogers, and I plan on attending University of Florida or University of Arkansas, and I plan to major in biology or chemistry and pre-med that route, and then med school and study dermatology.
That's awesome.
I'm Lily Sharp, and I plan on going to U of A, and I'm undecided in my major right now. My name is Madison Walters, and I'm undecided where I'm going to school, but I plan to major in biology and go down the pre-med track.
Wow. Scientist.
My name is Piper Matthews, and I'm going to the University of Arkansas, and I'm undecided what I'm going to major in.
Do we have any parents here? Parents? Well, congratulations. I know that you wanted to win it all, but hey, this is the next best thing. I mean, there's only one team that's going to be happy every year, and that's the one that wins it all. So you guys did the next best thing. That's great. So you'll remember this for the rest of your life.
Mr. Hutchinson, I didn't see Coach Stellick, or otherwise I'd introduced him. I'm sorry, Coach Stellick. He's our athletic director. For those of you in the crowd that don't know, he does a good job. So
Great job.
did a
Thanks
great
for being
job.
here.
Thank you.
And I tell you what, watching the game, I would not want to be at the end of the volleyball side. I watched some of you. Y'all are just amazing athletes, just amazing. It sounds like your grade point's probably the highest in the region too.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you all, great representatives of the district and of your school.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having us.
Breaking team right there. Next, Mr. Hutchinson, we have Ivan Rivera, junior at Don Tyson School of Innovation, recipient of the WISE Financial Literacy Ambassador Award. Ivan, looks like he's got a posse full of Phoenix family coming with him.
Sorry. Okay, hello, my name is Ivan Corvera. I am a junior at the Don Tyson School of Innovation, and I was named one of the WISE 2021 Financial Literacy Ambassadors. And what that means is that I'm going to promote financial literacy here amongst my friends, my family, and my community. Okay, in order to receive this award, I first of all had to take a financial literacy test through my CCR, or College and Career Readiness class at school, which was taught by Miss Cynthia Lyons here. And thanks to her incredible teaching, I made a 100% on the financial literacy certification test. And then after that, I just wrote an essay about my relationship with money and how that personally has affected me as a first-generation American. And then I wrote how I would inspire change within my community.
What were some of the highlights of how you would do that?
Well, I think mostly as a first-generation American, I would mostly reach out to those like myself, because we're really just set up in a society where we're not meant to succeed here in a new country, as our parents are struggling. I've seen it, and I know many others have gone through it. So I'd like to teach other first-generation Americans like myself that there is a chance for success. We just have to work for it.
What are your plans? I know you're just a junior, but have you given any thought to what you want to do after you graduate?
Oh, I would like to major in psychology once I graduate, hopefully stay in-state in Arkansas, and become a psychologist.
One that's smart and knows what to do with his money.
Thank you.
That's good. All right, well, we appreciate you being here this evening.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Have your parents here?
Oh, are your parents here?
My dad's here, yes.
Oh, there he is.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Ivan, before you go, did you get a financial reward?
Yes, I did win.
Tell them.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I did win $1,000 for becoming a financial literacy ambassador, and I did put it all into my savings account.
Only from Arkansas that has won this, so.
There are only 5 winners in the United States.
Oh, so it just gets, the story just gets better.
Yeah.
No, this is a really good story. He's downplaying.
He kind of undersold it, didn't he?
Well, it's customary to give 10% of your winnings.
I tried to get him to just spend like $5 on himself. He was like, Miss Hines, that's not what you taught me. Like, okay.
No, that financial literacy, that is,
That's good.
it's gonna be a tool down the road that if you can help other people, that's fantastic.
Of course. Thank you.
Good job.
Good job. Next, Mr. Hutchinson, I'd like to introduce you to someone you already know, Some in the crowd may not know her, Miss Kimberly Glass. She is on every board I think ever made, in the state and in the nation. But I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'd like for her to tell you
And I
what
think-
all she's been able to do.
I think you have a slide
Okay.
that has information on it.
Fantastic. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I serve on our state federal programs board as well as the national federal programs board. And then I've just been elected president for the American Association for Employment and Education. And that is a board that I recently became engaged with when we started talking about a need to really begin to look at hiring and recruiting. Not that we don't have plenty of qualified applicants, but really beginning to look at diversifying. And so that's something that Dr. Cleveland and I and Trent have been looking at and continue to try to study more. And so that's really what this association is looking at. So the board is made up of university folks and school district folks, and we typically try to have a career fair in connection with it. This year it didn't quite make just because of COVID and some other related items going on, but every other year that is a part of what we've done. We did have a virtual career fair in connection with that, and so we're just trying to expand that. And I just really appreciate the opportunities that Springdale has provided me in allowing me to do this. It really gives us a seat at the table, both just in the state as well as nationally, and it has really helped us out because our voices are heard. Our national association does surveys on a regular basis. Matter of fact, we just sent one out this past week surveying across the nation. We have over 3,000 members in that particular organization and really trying to get feedback from what's happening out in the field. That information is used on the Hill and in other ways just to inform other people about what is happening and what school districts are doing. And so we just try to provide as much information as we can for them. It's allowed us to get connected with others that are in the field. There are times when, I know Kelly and I have been back and forth on different questions. He's like, well, do you know anyone that you can reach out to and ask a question? And so I've made some connections with some lawyers in DC, and every now and then I'll reach out and say, can you give me a little feedback here? Can you help out? And so it's really helped us out in that manner. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve on those.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
She does a great job.
Thank you.
Leader among her peers. Next, Mr. Hutchinson, I'd like to introduce Ms. Megan Brazel. She is well known, many of you know her, but I'd like for her to tell you about the work that she's won and some of the work that she does.
Ja, ich will mich bedanken. Diese Stiftung gibt diese Herausgebung jedes Jahr für die eine Lehrerin in die Hochschule und auch in die Universitäten. So thank you very much. And that was just a tiny glimpse into what some of our ESL students feel like some days in their classroom. So if you felt a little confused for a second, that was just, 20 seconds of a different language that you don't know. And that's not really what my award is about, but the award it's given to one secondary and one post-secondary teacher in the nation, and it's specifically for teachers who encourage multicultural respect in the classroom and who encourage their students to step out of their comfort zone a little bit. And so I apologize for my voice tonight. It's not as strong as it could be, but I feel honored to receive this award, and I really feel like I didn't do very much for it. Many of my former students and a lot of my colleagues did a lot of work for this, and I didn't really do much, but it's really humbling to get an award like this, and I feel like more of our teachers in Springdale need to be honored because we do a lot of those kinds of things. So thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate it.
So what comes after receiving this award?
So the award does come with a stipend. There's still a little bit of uncertainty about exactly what will happen because of COVID, but typically, historically, the stipend comes in order to provide you with the opportunity to go to Germany and participate in one of their conferences in June. So that would be great. I would love that because it's been like 3 years since I've been to Germany, and I'm missing it. I need me some German bread. I need to walk around in Germany. Yeah, so that would be amazing. But again, like I said, we're not exactly sure how that's going to work, but I'm very hopeful that it can work like that. Yeah.
So where would the conference be in Germany?
I believe typically it's held in Berlin, but it could be anywhere that will let them do it because of COVID, like I said, so.
How many kids participate in taking German?
This year, not very many. I am also coordinating the International Baccalaureate program now at Springdale High, and it kind of worked out because I only have 37 students in German right now. But at, let's see, 4 years ago, I had 75 kids sign up for German 1, and I had 3 sections of German 1, and then I had 15 kids in German 3 last year. So it varies, obviously, a lot. Depends on just if kids are aware. We do teach German at SOI as well. Mr. Damon Dukes, he teaches German there, and Miss Wendy Robinson, she teaches at HAR-BER. So we do offer German at all 3 schools, not Archer. But I think that our languages are an excellent place for us to shout our accolades, because we do a lot. I don't know if you guys recently saw all of the students who got the seal of biliteracy, right? It was super amazing, and I think our world languages programs at Springdale are very top-notch, so.
You're one of our readers at graduation,
I
right?
do read names at graduation.
Oh, with that
Thank you.
name, wow.
Some of them take some practice. There's sometimes because they practice and they come up to the podium, and some of them I'm like, oh yeah, I got you. And then some of them I'm like, okay, say it again. All right, one more time. And then I repeat it, and they're like, no. And I'm like, oh. So yes, it does take some practice for some of them, but we believe that it's important. Your name is special, right? You don't want to, your parents especially, don't want to hear your name called incorrectly, right? That's not who you are. So, and some of them are like, no, it's fine, miss, it's fine. Just, say it how you want to. And no, we do not want to say it how we want to. We want to say it how you want it, how your mom wants it. I love, there's a great story. So there was a student last year who, said, yeah, that's my name. And he had an initial for his middle name. And I said, do you have a middle name? You want us to say your middle name? And he, no, miss, it's fine, just my name. Okay, and then as they're sitting down for, coming into graduation, I happen to pass him, we're just making sure they all look good and everything. He says, oh, hey, miss, actually, my middle name's this. I asked my mom, can you say it? Yes, I'd love to do that for you. So, yeah, and I love that the conversations are taking place like that, so.
Appreciate you doing that.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. I know we're going pretty quickly, Mr. Hutchinson, but it's always good to celebrate, especially in this environment. The other celebration we had tonight, just a milestone. I know each of you that have been on the board for a long time have done a lot of work, gathering hours, deepening your understanding of boardsmanship and all. And Mr. Bell, one of our newest members, has met a milestone, 25 hours. And so the School Board Association has recognized Mr. Bell with that 25-hour milestone. He's actually one of 10 in the region, and they presented him, or going to present him through us, with his pen. And as you can see, he likes to wear pens on his lapel. So that'll work out really well. Mr. Bell's done a great job. It's a great addition. I know for those of you in the room that don't know, Mr. Hutchinson is on the State School Board Association board. In fact, are you the secretary this year?
I'm secretary until December, and then I should be vice president.
Should be going to vice president, on his way to president. So Springdale has a lot of impact in the state, and certainly through Mr. Hutchinson. So anyway, this is a great board, and they do great work and spend a lot of volunteer time. Really had a tough time. So getting 25 hours, Mr. Bell, is a good accomplishment. So thank you for doing that. Now, number 6 on the presentation by the superintendent, I sent you an email late today, but I've talked to a couple of you. January, you don't have to make a decision tonight, just kind of put on your radar. January is a really difficult month for me specifically. We have the superintendent symposium, and I've been asked to teach a class to new superintendents. It's on the scheduled Tuesday of our board meeting, which is the 11th. Now, I can go to Little Rock and I can come back, I can do all that, but I've got to go back to Little Rock the next day. So I was going to see if maybe you would consider putting our school board meeting either on a Monday We're potentially moving it to the next Tuesday just because of my schedule. I understand if you can't, it's no big deal. But I do think there might be a Razorback game along with a home conference game potentially for one of our teams on the 18th. I also know on the 11th too for our team, so maybe Monday would work, the 10th. Just a request, you don't have to make a decision tonight, but I just wanted to put that on your radar if it's possible.
It works
It
for me.
works for me.
It does?
How about you, Kevin?
I'm good.
You good with that?
Okay.
And you said Michelle was okay with it?
She can do either date.
So Eddie's the only one that we're not sure about?
Right, I hadn't heard from Mr. Reynolds.
Must be present to have a voice.
That's right. I'd say let's just plan on the 10th.
10th be good.
And
Okay.
we're still a couple months out, so hopefully he can arrange his schedule to make that work.
It's on a Monday, so those of you in the room that like to attend, it'll be on a Monday, the 10th of January. So thank you. We'll publish that on the internet. So did you hear that on the 10th? Do you have something going on the 10th? You need to tell us.
I won't now. We had moved Springdale basketball game Tuesday to Monday.
There we go. I
Is
thought,
that the Springdale HAR-BER game?
how about I just go
Yeah,
back
we don't
and
need to do
forth?
that again, right?
No.
How about I just go back and forth to Little Rock?
We see if I can just move it from Monday to Tuesday, the regular day.
I bet you know a guy.
Okay.
I know the AD kind of well.
Yeah.
I might accept it.
All
That
right.
would work if we could move back to Tuesday and then,
We'll stir that horse.
No, I don't want to do that. I would drive back and forth to Little Rock to not create that problem again. So I apologize, Coach Stellick.
let us know if that will work.
Make it work.
Okay,
Good time.
okay.
So you're going Monday.
Monday's the meeting, Tuesday's the game. All right.
You know you're here for a reason.
Until we can get it off that second Tuesday, I mean, we just got all kinds of fun to deal with on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Just on the side there, I don't know if any of you know, but it's National School Psychology Specialist Week, and we've got a great bunch of school psychologists who do tremendous work.
Wayne might need one after what we just did to him.
Yeah, we'll give Wayne a sign. But we'll send something, and I know Trent has publicized that today. And it's just one group of great people that serve our kids at a higher level. I'd like to mention that too. So beyond that, Mr. Hudson, my portion is now complete.
All right, so I guess that brings us to Mrs. Fink. Come on down.
Well, good evening, Board. I am here with some very exciting news tonight. Dr. Cleveland received notice a couple of days ago that several of our schools have been recognized by the Office of Educational Policy at the University of Arkansas. And they recognize schools who have had extraordinary growth on the ACT Aspire. And they create an annual report entitled the Outstanding Educational Performance Awards, who they recognize with high student academic growth. And they think growth is the best indicator of the positive impact that schools have on students. So I'm going to announce who our schools are who have been recognized by OEP at the University of Arkansas. And principals, when your school is called, if you'll come down and accept your certificate. John Tyson Elementary School is recognized by OEP for having high overall growth statewide and high ELA growth statewide.
Is this the one that had the monetary awards attached to it?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. I won't get it.
We're getting there,
Okay,
yes.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Hunt Elementary School is recognized for high overall growth statewide, high math growth statewide, high ELA growth statewide, overall growth Northwest Region, high math growth Northwest Region, and high ELA growth Northwest Region.
Wow.
Monitor Elementary School is recognized for having high overall growth statewide. And finally, George Elementary School is recognized for high overall growth statewide, high ELA growth statewide, high overall growth Northwest Region, and high ELA growth Northwest Region. So congratulations, principals, teachers, and students, for whoever's watching. This is an incredible accomplishment, even in the face of a COVID year. So we're very, very proud of these 4 schools. So good job. If y'all want to smile for the camera. Shortly after that announcement was made, we got more exciting news that the Arkansas Department of Education had released the schools that would receive rewards money for having high achievement on the ACT Aspire. And so we have 11 of our schools who have been rewarded with money, and again, incredible accomplishment in the face of COVID. We are so proud of our schools. So we have several of our principals are in attendance tonight, so when I announce your school, if you'll just stand up and remain standing so that we can recognize your hard work. So for top 5% performance in the state of Arkansas, congratulations goes to Young Elementary School, who was awarded $49,100, and Hunt Elementary School, which was awarded $50,100. Top overall 6% to 10% performance in the state of Arkansas goes to Hellstern Elementary School, $39,850. And Tyson Elementary for $22,500. Okay, we're going to move into our growth category. So top 5% growth in the state of Arkansas, we have several schools. Young Elementary, $49,100, so they're receiving double money. George Elementary, $44,600. HAR-BER Elementary, $41,400. Hunt is another double recipient for another $50,100. Tyson Elementary double recipient, $45,000. Linda Childers Knapp, $54,200. Monitor Elementary, $55,300. Walker Elementary, $43,200. Westwood Elementary, $40,000. And our final category was top 6 to 10% in growth in the state of Arkansas. So congratulations, double winner, Helen Tyson Middle School, $33,900. And double rewarded Hellstern Middle School for $39,850. So this brings a grand total of $658,200 to our district. Thank you very much.
So how does that work? How do those funds get dispersed and spent and all that stuff?
So this is the first time this has happened in my seat, but being a former recipient, the funds are released to the district, and then the schools have to work with a committee of stakeholders, being parents, students, and teachers, to decide how the money is going to be spent. They then create a plan that I'll sign off on, and then Dr. Cleveland will sign off on, and then they just spend their money. So it's really exciting.
It goes to that specific school.
Absolutely.
Does it go to a certain thing at that school, or can it be anything?
They do have particular guidelines. I can't remember off the top of my head. Most of it is going towards continuing the great things that are happening in their schools. Additional people to come in and support innovative practice. There's lots of things that schools can do with the money. Yeah.
So were there some first-timers in this bunch?
I don't know. Were there any first-timers? Shelley? Tyson Elementary?
First time for
Rewards.
performance? That's good.
5% growth for years, but this is our first time to reach that performance mark.
That may have been a loaded question.
All right, thank you.
All right. Ms. Tischer, all right.
Sorry, go back one more. There we go. Really quick before we do our Clifton Strengths highlight for this month, I wanted to let you know that the OEP awards for secondary schools should be released within the next week or two. And so there were no junior highs and high schools for the OEP because they haven't been released yet. So we're anxiously awaiting that information. So hopefully next month, we will have some secondary schools to highlight for you. Yeah. Okay, so for this month, if you remember last month, we talked about the learner quality because our combined team between school board and district team, the most common talent or strength that we all had was learner. The second most common is harmony. And so I thought tonight we would just do a quick revisit of harmony. And those of you who have harmony in your top 5 are Ms. Cook, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Hayes, Ms. Clay, Jeremy White, and Paul Miller. And so harmony says, you look for areas of agreement. In your view, there is little to be gained from conflict and friction, so you seek to hold them to a minimum. When you know that people around you hold differing views, you try to find the common ground. You try to steer them away from confrontation and toward harmony. In fact, harmony is one of your guiding values. You can't quite believe how much time is wasted by people trying to impose their views on others. Wouldn't we all be more productive if we kept our opinions in check and instead looked for consensus and support? You believe we would, and you live by that belief. When others are sounding off about their goals, their claims, and their fervently held opinions, you hold your peace. When others strike out in a direction, you willingly, in the service of harmony, modify your own objectives to merge with theirs as long as their basic values do not clash with yours. When others start to argue about their pet theory or concept, you steer clear of the debate, preferring to talk about practical, down-to-earth matters on which you can all agree. In your view, we are all in the same boat, and we need this boat to get where we are going. It is a good boat. There is no need to rock it just to show that you can. And so there we are with harmony for this evening. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right, let's see. Mr. Hayes. Run everybody off, Kelly. Wow. No respect.
Sorry.
Man, I'm taking this personally. I'm taking names.
Make it big, everybody. Good job on all that money. That's awesome.
Yes, I'm surprised Dr. Cleveland didn't share with you that we received the second most money in the state for that, so we're real proud of that. So, in fact, we received about, I guess, 10% of the money overall in the state, so that's good. Yeah. Board, I wanted to talk to you for just a moment about the October financial statements. You can see where I made a couple of notes in there for you. Our revenue is coming in pretty much as it traditionally has, so I feel good about that. On our expenditure side, we're right in line with where we've been previously, so all of that looks good. Something that I did want to point out to you is that 10 years ago, we sold what are called QSCAB bonds, and stand for qualified something bonds, okay? And what it was is it was a program for school districts, interest-free program for school districts to borrow money. And so the way it worked is we would go ahead and make a payment once a year for the principal and interest, and then we would submit it to the IRS, the interest payment, and they would refund us the amount of our interest. Actually, after the first year or two, something happened and it got tweaked a little bit, so they didn't quite reimburse us all of the interest from that point forward, but basically they did. So we had borrowed $1.1 million 10 years ago. And so every year we would make a principal payment of $110,000, but it's kind of unusual the way this worked. Instead of just making the payment and us not seeing it again, it went into, we made our payment, but they put it in an account for us. And then whatever interest it earned, we were credited with that interest. And so that has been building up over a 10-year period, 110,000, 220,000, to whereas this year, it finally came up to the 1.1 million. And so when we finally made our last payment, then we had given them a post-dated warrant. They cashed the post-dated warrant, and so then it was paid in full then. I say all that to say, at the beginning of this year, we had a balance in the debt service fund of around 900,000 because we had made 9 of those payments. We made the 10th payment, brought us up to the 1.1 million, and so now we have paid that out. So our balance in our debt service fund moving forward is down where it traditionally has been. So it's just an unusual thing. Many of you weren't on the board. Who was on the board? Mr. Hutchinson? Oh, we did have 2? Okay. I wasn't sure. So I just wanted you to be aware. It was kind of unusual, but it worked just as they said it would. And so 10 years later, that debt has been retired. Do you have any questions on that? Okay, because our typical debt service payment is just we make a payment once a year on principal and twice a year on interest. And once we make that principal payment, just like your mortgage, it lowers what's owed at that time. But this didn't. It just accumulated a balance till we got it all, and then we paid it off.
Was there something specifically we used that money for?
That's a great question. I'm thinking that we used it for one of the library, to help pay for one of the library additions that we did. I can't remember, I think Person Hills maybe? I think that was the one we used it on. So, yeah. As far as the financials, if you have any questions, I did notice on the register that we did buy 6 buses, and so that was a pretty major expenditure this month. But other than that, be happy to answer any questions you might have. Keep in mind that our balance is unusually high right now in the building fund because of the bond proceeds that we received. We're still in the early stages of planning for those projects. So once we finalize the plans and get started on construction, you will see that balance declining pretty rapidly.
Mr. Hazard, are you seeing our, trying to describe what I'm going to ask here, our consumables like paper products, and are you seeing that still trending down? Back in early parts of the pandemic when we were eating lunch in the classrooms instead of the cafeteria, everything was prepackaged. Are we seeing that continue to, since we're going more back to trays and silverware?
Well, as you...
We're spending ungodly amounts of money on consumable, like paper products.
Right. We have cut back significantly on things like that. Of course, our food costs, just like they are for us individually, have gone up some, but yes, we are cutting back on some of that. But I am also seeing a return to normal in terms of expenditures because we have so many, all of our kids are on site this year, as opposed to last year when we had so many kids that were learning virtually. We still have some virtual students, but not nearly the number we had last year. So our utilities are coming back like they normally would and things like that. And we're also seeing a lot more maintenance this year. Mr. White can attest that last year we just didn't have the maintenance request from staff that we typically have. And so this year I think he'll probably attest that that has come back with a vengeance. So. Any other questions on the financials?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 2021 financial statement.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Emerson, a second by Mr. Owenby to approve the financials as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The second item that I have for you, Board, is I talked to Dr. Cleveland. I told him I didn't know if I needed this in here or not. I brought Leanne McKee forward to y'all several months ago as a related party because she has a business on the side where she makes hats, and we were wanting to buy some of the hats, and so we're required to disclose any business we do with an employee. Well, she also has a Slurpee machine. And so I'm disclosing that she has a Slurpee machine, and we will only rent it in the event that it's a good deal for us as compared to other Slurpee machine rental companies. And so I think that moving forward, if it's okay with you, once I bring you someone, can we just say that I've disclosed that related party, and if they have something else down the road, that it would cover that as well, do you think?
I think that's reasonable.
I
Is
just,
that okay?
This depends on the dollar amount.
well, that's true,
It's a larger
yeah.
contract. You'll see it.
Yeah, these things right here, I mean, it's so small. Of course, if it goes over 10,000 for a year, which that would be a lot of Slurpees, then we also have to get state approval before we can continue with that, so.
Slurpee on.
So do we need to go ahead and,
I would ask that you pass a resolution approving this relationship.
I'll move to adopt a resolution to enter into a contract with Ms. McKee.
okay? All right, we have a motion by Mr. Bell and a second by Mrs. Creek to approve disclosure form that was presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There you go.
Thank you. Now, Mr. White.
Hey, Board and Dr. Cleveland. I've got a few pictures for the construction update. So they've got the logos and everything up at Rollins Elementary. They look really good. They're moving along on all the construction in Area C. The downstairs is further behind than the upstairs, which is planned that way. This is actually the music room, and they actually have kids in it now. So these pictures are a few days old. But it is looking a lot better. They're actually putting some flooring down in the downstairs area, finishing up the painting, so we're just about a month away from being totally done. And that they do plan on doing a final punch list probably over Christmas break when everybody's out of the building, and then that'll complete that job. Other than the playground equipment, we still have some work to do on that.
So we'll start back second semester, everything will be ready to roll.
It should be, unless we get some delays in any products, but
I'll tell you what, I toured it the other day with Flanco.
yeah.
Of course, I'm the one Orthodox. I didn't make the first tour, on the second from myself.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic facility.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Whoever is the color person, who is that?
That's wild.
It's not me.
I've never seen the color.
I think a lot of the staff had some input in that.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
If y'all who hadn't been in it, it is unbelievable.
yeah. It looks really, really good.
Great.
So they're coming along.
I'd want to go to school there.
Yeah. All right. So I was just going to update on the other projects we have. Core Architect and Flintco are working to determine the type of buildings that's going to best fit the project at Springdale High. And then we're still working with the district admin team and the staff to finalize all the details in all the rooms to get everything like it needs to be. George Elementary, we're early in these stages. Core Architects also working on this one, and they'll be working with Milestone Construction. I visited with Justin and his assistant and kind of got a game plan on how to move forward. Core's working on that.
The library?
It's a library and admin space is what's been approved for that project. It's about 8,600 square feet. So we're just looking at placement of the building and the layout.
Curious, what is it like, gonna be on the front of the building or the back?
As of right now, the front is looking like the best place for the building. That one's kind of landlocked on the north, has a lot of utilities on the west, and the east has the clinic, so it's kind of hard to get a good placement on it. But out the front seems to be the best to just for layout.
Right.
you know, and we could get our secured vestibule and everything rolled into the job, so that would help get that done. So, like I said, we're real early on the design phase on this. Central Architecture Plus and Ball and Shell, they're working on determining the type of construction that best suits this project. We are having to add a few parking spots to meet some city codes. We're going to be at 300 parking spots on this job. So, and then they're just finalizing a lot of the details in all the rooms. So it's going really good on this project.
I'm just curious about that piece of land. Do we own the baseball or what used to be a softball field right there?
Mm-hmm. We do.
Own that, so
Uh-huh.
We're on the whole square.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to do some preliminary work this winter just to cut down on construction costs. The maintenance department's going to go do some of the work, take some savings off of the job. That's just a layout of this job site. So
Pulled it off Huntsville,
Mhm.
facing Goods-on, be two-story,
yeah.
have secured areas.
Okay. And then Southwest, WD&D is the architect on this, and they're working with the building admin and the district admin team to get details on this job, what best suits that site. It's going to be a little landlocked also because of the boundaries of the property, plus having to keep the original building up and functioning during construction. So they're just trying to get the best layout for this job. And then we've been working on the middle schools, on the Joe Kelly and Helen Tyson, to change out all of the heat and air units, and those have been delayed. We were going to try to do some over Thanksgiving break and Christmas break. Some of the parts of the units are not available, so it's looking like the unit change out will happen spring break and maybe some into the start of summer. But during the Thanksgiving break and Christmas breaks, we're going to go in and get a lot of the utilities ran, new gas lines, electric, energy management, fire alarm, all of that will be ran before the units get installed. So we'll get a lot of the preliminary work done before spring break.
Will these all be new units, or are they going to be refurbished?
New, they're all new units. It'll help the indoor air quality, and just, you know, those units, for the most part, are all original 1994 units, so it's time.
Good.
Yeah.
We're using our ESSER dollars for our portion. We applied for these units 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years.
We need to do wholesale changeouts and upgrades. Fortunately, the ESSER dollars came through. This is a great chunk of money to use, and used in an appropriate way. And the state's paying for the other roughly half. So we're able to save our local dollars for other projects. It's good.
And we are adding air conditioning in the gyms at both of those middle schools and at Hellstern and Sonora Middle. So they'll have air conditioning once this project's done. Okay, you guys have any other questions? Or?
Got lots of free time on your hands.
Yep. Thanks.
Good evening, Board. I have in the slideshow here, if you'll go to the next, or maybe I can do it over here. There we go. The same data that you've grown accustomed to throughout the pandemic. You'll see that our numbers continue to decline / hold steady. In the last reporting period, and keep in mind we're about a week shorter than what we've looked at in the past, there have been 14 staff that were positive, 73 students, 1 teacher. 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 73 students 122 PCCs identified, with 2 of those testing positive. When I presented to you last month, we had just gotten approval and had begun to implement Test to Stay, I think actually about the day of the meeting. We're now several weeks into that and have had 124 students participate in Test to Stay. We got a kind of a slow start when people weren't really sure about what the program was and what it meant, but it seems like as the weeks go on, more and more are participating. So of those 124 that have opted in to Test to Stay, 6 have tested positive. All but one of those was a positive test on the very first day. There was one that didn't show up positive till, I believe it was the 4th day. Parents are excited about that option. Some still opt out, which is fine. The question that I'm being asked the most is, when are we going to be able to do Test to Stay for outside exposures? Right now, the program only allows Test to Stay if you're exposed in the school setting, and I don't know that it will ever expand, but parents are eager for that expansion. So even when their child is exposed outside, there would still be an avenue for them to attend school. We're not there yet, but we're excited to lead the state in piloting this program. I've talked with several school districts that are considering it and just asking, how are you doing it? What's the process? Are people receptive? So it's been a really interesting process to model and lead for other districts.
Can you go back to that slide?
Yeah, and I skipped over one slide.
What's the difference between the PCC number and the Test and Stay number? Would that not be the same?
It's not. I should have clarified that. You're right. So PCCs are actually people that were identified as close contacts and chose to quarantine. The Test to Stay, we do not identify those as PCCs. They're pulled out of that group. So if you were looking at a total number of people that would have been excluded from the school setting without Test to Stay, it would be that 122 plus 124. Right.
Gotcha.
And I skipped over my first slide. This is our trend data that you've seen every month. And you have a link to this as well that has been shared, and it's on our website for anybody who's watching that may want to look at this information. This just shows week by week trend of quarantines, positives. We've broken it down by K7. We've included the ACI data, which is an indicator of community spread within the district geographical boundaries. Over the last couple of weeks, we entered the green zone, which indicates low community spread. And again, like I said, our numbers are steadily declining, leveling off at a very low level. So that's exciting as well.
I understand this state is the one that says that we can't do the Test to Stay for outside exposure. Is that correct?
It's all under health department guidance. Test to Stay protocols and quarantine are all in the same umbrella.
Is that just saying that they aren't going to pay for it?
No,
They just can't do it, period.
they won't.
So even if we decide we want to do it out of our own pocket, we can't do it.
Correct. That's basically overriding the quarantine rules that have been established, which we've talked about several times on authority behind that. And I mean, the reasoning behind it is that they do believe spread, say in a home setting among siblings, maybe at a higher rate than you would see in a classroom setting. It seems like, well, what if we could say, okay, if you were exposed at your house, you have to quarantine, but if you were exposed, I'll give you a personal example. I have a child that's quarantined that was exposed at a basketball game on Saturday. Could we do Test to Stay for that sort of situation? But we're not there yet. One of the things that Dr. Cleveland and I talked about pretty extensively and talked with the health department liaison for school districts as this started is Test to Stay isn't our end goal and where we want to be, but if it's a first step and can help us get to the end goal of no quarantines or much different quarantine rules, then we're happy to participate and give them some data to hopefully move that conversation forward. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
Let's see.
I don't see Ms. Lomax and have heard from her.
Okay, nobody from the Education Association? Nope, okay. So are we ready to go to the patron? Okay, so we have one gentleman here, Mr. Griffith, that has applied to come and talk to us, and we're going to give him 5 minutes to talk since he went through all the protocols and stuff to do that. And then we've got a couple other folks that want to address us. But let's start with Mr. Chester Griffith.
Yes.
Understand that we won't be able to act on anything tonight.
Oh, that's fine.
We just want you to be aware of that.
Right.
But you're welcome to address us. Go ahead.
Well, first, let me give a little bit of background. I've been associated with this school district since 1962 when I started school. I believe this was a music room when I was in this building. Okay. So understand that I've put 9 grandchildren, 6 children, 9 grandchildren through the school district. And watching tonight, you guys have had a lot of great accolades tonight. But understand, I'm not the smartest man in the world, all right? I never claimed to be. But tonight, I want to address you on something that I hold very dearly. I have a special needs child that last April or May, I spent in a very good video conference with the school district. When that was over, we sent a 37-page manuscript to the school district that covered everything that was wrong with this child, what her needs were, what was recommended to take care of this child. Now, these are not people just made up. These are by people that are state certified by the state, board certified by the state. They are therapists, and, well, actually, there's a physical therapist, a speech therapist, an occupational therapist that went through and had my child for 3 years. And we're getting ready, she turned 5, and we all agreed she's ready to go to kindergarten. Right? She's smart. Now, understand when I say special needs, she's not mentally challenged. She just has special needs. So we sent her to a school here. My daughter was traumatized by this. Now, I do not blame the school itself, okay? Not that particular school. What I do blame, and understand I don't, not personally, but this school board is responsible for what happens inside this school district. And the special needs for this child was not met. It was not met from day one. And we knew this was not going to be met because when we met the teacher that, you know, the day where you go meet the teacher, we was talking about mask, right? And she said, well, we said she has difficulty wearing masks. Well, no, she don't, that's not acceptable. She has to wear a mask. Well, we knew at this point, nobody had read that 37 pages that we had sent over there to them. So somewhere there was a drop-off in this. And it traumatized this child. To tell you how bad this was, she would get off prior to starting school, she would wait out there with her big sister and beg to ride to go to school. Right? 2 days into school, I had to drag her to the bus to put her on it. She would get off the bus and cry herself to sleep on the couch. She'd get up, eat supper, go upstairs and go to bed and sleep all night because of what happened in that school. Now, I do not blame the teacher. Understand that one thing I've learned over the years, there's 2 types of problems. There's a point problem and a systematic problem. This is a systematic problem. Nobody took care of the needs for this child when they hit the school. And that lays on your feet because you guys are the school board. You guys set the standards. Now, I don't hold you personally for it, but as a board, that's your responsibility. And we have failed that child. You guys failed my child. The schools have failed the child. And I have failed her because I should have never put her in that situation. I should have done my homework that said, this school is not ready for that child. And this has been, in September, August since school started. And I started to come several other times, but I learned years ago when I was in the military, never make decisions or say something when you're mad. let it work through it, sell it out, and then make it. And this is what I say, I have 3 rules in my household, and the 2 children that still go to the school that she went to, if you walk up to her and ask them to, they'll tell you the 3 rules we have in our house. 1, education is the most important thing in the world. And if you ask them why, they'll tell you because that's the only thing they can't take away from you. They can take away your job, your money, your house, your life, but they can't take away your education. The second rule is opportunities come once. Boys and girls will always be there. Opportunities are opposite. And the third rule is that we never, ever, ever leave a buddy behind. What we have done right here is we violated all 3 of those rules. We did not put our education first. We did not take the opportunity to get this child involved in education. And third, we left her behind. Now, I'm not a big proponent of no child left behind, I never was, but we left this child out there. And the most important thing is I'm not afraid to come in front of you. I've spent 20 years in the infantry. It takes a lot to scare me, all right? But I will tell you, if it happened to my child, I want you to understand how many other children it happens to every year, that they go into schools and the school's not prepared for them. Now,
You've hit your 5, and we've let you go over a little bit. We appreciate you
Okay.
coming and giving us the information, and we will check into it.
Okay.
Did you say this for your child or grandchild?
This is my grandchild, but I have custody of her.
Okay.
I have custody of 3 grandchildren.
Okay.
Okay?
I got it. Thank you. Next is Mr. Mulcahy. How are you tonight?
I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
We've talked in the past. You guys are good at what you do. I loved the way you handled a lot of the stuff in the last year, and you came to the end. I know Mr. OMB was really struggling one night, and I think you made a lot of good decisions. The one thing that I want to talk about that's coming forward is, I know you can't mandate vaccines, and you won't. I get it. But the influence that educators have on people, especially when you're talking this new grade of 5 to 11-year-olds, I'm just begging that anyone, I guess not necessarily y'all here, but the educational side, doesn't make it a big deal. Because we know that the children aren't impacted negatively like, they're more likely to be injured driving a car than getting sick and dying from the COVID. But the vaccine, they've actually done a lot of stuff and it's untested, and our kids are not the guinea pigs. These 5 to 11-year-olds, I just want to make sure that you guys see that this is not a push to get them vaccinated so they can fall into the quarantine rules. Because I think it's even horrible that 12 to 18-year-olds got into this. Adults make their own choice. So I'm just asking you not to make it a big deal, not to push it and make it sound cool, sound fun, and staff, and you get up in front and talk to somebody and they hear something, they hear the way they want to hear it. If it's not said properly, they can take it as a suggestion. You had a teacher here several months ago who was injured by the vaccine. She was in a walker. I don't know who she is and how she's doing, but that was one teacher in your school district. I'd hate to see kids come in and start having injuries or even worse, death. So I'm just putting that in front of you. Something to think about. Kids are important, and I think they're very robust health. I don't think they need this, but again, it's their parents' decision, not anybody in the school to push it. That's all I got to say. Thank you for listening.
All right.
Mr. John, come on up. How you doing tonight?
Finance guy. Right behind me all the time. School buses bought in October, 6 of them. Those are replaced.
Hey,
This new buses?
sir?
Sorry,
Sir, can you come up here?
Sure can.
You'll need to address us, okay?
He's the one that spoke.
I know, but you need to address the board.
School buses, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I appreciate your time and whatever. The individual said that he bought, the school district bought 6 buses where they replaced existing school buses.
We'll have to check on that. Like I said earlier, we won't be able to address specific questions tonight.
He's sitting right there.
Continue, please.
Okay. National School Board Association, are you associated with it?
We are currently.
The letter that was sent by the state of Arkansas stated that they agreed with the majority of what the statement said. What part of that did this district agree with?
Again, we're not going to answer specific questions. You just have to keep an eye on what's going to happen for the next couple of months.
Oh, okay. I looked up the graduation rate of Springdale High School and also HAR-BER. There's a huge difference in between the two schools. Since you're not going to answer questions, let me talk about those differences. The ranking of Springdale, Arkansas is 10,484 in the national ratings. HAR-BER is 3,927. Springdale is 180 in Arkansas high schools, and HAR-BER is 40. Huh. Like my time's up. There's got to be a better way of making comments or communicating with the school board and getting answers. This tonight was asinine. It's unacceptable. And you, sir, are making decisions on what will be answered, what won't be answered, when I'm asking you personally for an answer and you're not giving it.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Is there any more business? Oh, we have another, Miss Carly Rice. Come on up.
Sorry, first timer, so I didn't know what to do here.
No problem.
So I am a concerned parent with the bus situation, and I know it's on your minds. You know, my daughter is bus 174. It told her at like, I think 8 o'clock this morning that it wasn't gonna come. And that was after mom and dad, I substitute now. So I try to do that. So my kind of questions and concerns are, I do know that other districts have upped their pay for their bus drivers, and I don't know how to do that, and I know you guys obviously have some thoughts, and I'm sure have gone through what we can do for our bus drivers and our children. So I have the concern of, you know, why aren't we being able to pay our bus drivers more? Or is there a way that we can have bus 174 run this route this week and this route the next week so that it's not the same parents every single time that are not having the bus? I'm fortunate that for the most part, we can get our kids there and it's not a huge thing. I've been trying to carpool, things like that. But I don't feel like it is fair to send out a text that says, bus 174 doesn't have a driver, so for the foreseeable future, you won't get a bus. I don't think that that is a fair way to do things. I think that they need to share that within the district with other folks so that it's not the same parents that are always having that burden. My other suggestion would be, and it's kind of more on a selfish side, but at the same time, I'm putting a lot more miles on my vehicle right now, but I'm not seeing any of the funds from my taxes coming back to me for that. So maybe those funds that aren't coming back to me can be used to up our bus drivers' pay. So, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Is there anybody else? That being said, meeting is adjourned.